So a few months ago, I came across this video from Tong, who is another creator on YouTube about Fujifilm gear, by the way, shout out to him. And he was basically doing a tier list of all the Fujifilm lenses that are out there. So today I just decided to do my own version of this and basically make a tier list of all the Fujifilm lenses that I have tested. And a quick disclaimer, this is just my opinion, only my opinion, based on my experience on the lens, my favorite focal length, because that's also something that is to take into account, right? We all have our preferences when it comes to focal length, when it comes to lenses that we've used. So this is purely subjective. Let me know down in the comment if you agree or disagree. So let's just get started then. Let's try the 8mm 3.5. How does this work? Okay, I can just drag like that. So the 8mm f3.5, I've tried this lens actually. I tried it quite briefly. It was test and try from Fujifilm when we tried the XS20, I think. It was an okay lens, I would say, just okay. So I'll put it in the B or C. Yeah, I guess C tier. I mean, the 8mm for me is not something that I would consider using much. And the 8mm f3.5 did not give me any particular vibe that, okay, I was like, wow. The 14mm I haven't tried, so I'm not gonna put it in the tier list at all. The 16mm f1.4, so I've tried this lens, amazing lens, amazing image quality. The autofocus might be a bit clunky, but it has the clutch mechanism that is great. For me, that's directly a S tier lens. If you've never tried that lens, I highly recommend it. There is the lens also that I'm using to film this video that I'm using now, but still, this is still a S tier lens in my opinion. The 16mm f2.8, so I've tried this lens, was not very, how to say, impressed about it, just okay, decent lens, I would say, so I would put it around the C as well. 18mm f1.4, that's the lens that I'm using right now to film this particular video, and for me, this is directly a S tier lens because it's beautiful. I love the 27mm focal length equivalent because it gives me something wide enough to kind of tell a story and include enough element. Well, right now I'm including a lot of bags in the background, but that's fine. And it has also that close focusing distance like the 16, so definitely an S tier for me in terms of image quality, build quality. 18mm f2, I've tried it, it's quite compact, it's quite good, I would also put it in maybe the C or the B, but not higher than that. 23mm f1.4, I have tried it, but I am not a fan of the 35mm focal length, and that's just pure preference. So that's the, so that's the 2013 version. I would put it in the B or A. I think it should be put in the A, but that's personal. 23 for me is not what I gravitate towards, so the 35mm equivalent. So I would put the 2013 version on the B list and the 2021 version on the A list because it's a great lens. Just that for me, that's not the kind of lens that I'm looking for. 23mm f2, great lens, compact, good price, good value. I'll put it in the A list as well. A tier, sorry. 27mm f2.8, the pancake lens. This is a lens that I've tried as well, that I did not purchase, but just tried, rented out and tried for a few days. And it's a good lens, not in the same tier, I would say, as the Fujichrome or the new lenses from Fujifilm, right? But it's a decent lens and it's very, very small, so it makes your X-T5, X-T4, X-T3 very portable, pocketable. So yeah, definitely a good lens, I think. 30mm f2.8. Yes, so this one was a disappointment for me. First, why release the 30mm? So I actually purchased this lens because I thought, okay, maybe I could use it for product shots when I need it. But I realized that, okay, for my application, first of all, because it's a 30mm, you need to get extremely close for you to be able to take macro shots, right? And this basically becomes very challenging in terms of light when you have to set up everything with the lens very close to your subject. So that's one problem. And the second problem is that, okay, some people say that, okay, but this is just an everyday lens. True, but you have the 35mm f2 for that if you want that focal length, right? So why release this particular lens? Honestly, for me, it was just a D tier. I was not impressed at all by this particular lens, but that's just my opinion. Very overrated. 33mm f1.4. I think you know my opinion on this lens. Just beautiful. It works perfectly. It focuses well. The image quality is amazing. Recently, I gravitate more towards the 18, but the 33 is just as good. 35mm f1.4, image quality is great, it's a beautiful lens, but the focus is very clunky. So I will not put it in the S tier for that, but I did put the 16 on the S tier though. So maybe I'll put it on the S tier as well. I think it's a beautiful lens, it's very good, it works really well. It's just the focus is sometimes very clunky on this lens, but still it's a good lens, it's a great lens. 35mm f2, A tier for me. The Fujifilm lens, it just works really well. Compact and such a good lens to start that can honestly is enough for most people out there. And actually I would put the XC as well on the A tier because it has the same optics as the 35mm f2, but it's just the body itself that changes, and for me it's still a great lens. So the 55mm f1.0, so this, I have tried this lens. I've tried this lens, but I did not purchase it, and the only reason why I did not purchase it was because of the weight. Beautiful lens, beautiful image quality, works well, focuses well, but so heavy though. And for me, that's the only reason why I would put it in the A tier. It's because it works perfectly, but I would not carry it around all day. If you only do studio work and you can put your lens down every time, it would work perfectly for you, but for me, it did not work out. So I would put it in the E tier for that. 50mm f2, this either the A or the S tier, I would say, because the image quality on the 50mm f2 is great. It's so compact. The bokeh is also beautiful from this lens. For me, that's definitely A or A plus if there was a tier like that. 56mm f1.2 2014 version, I would say A tier. A tier just because of the focus, because the focus is very hard to work with this lens. There are so many times where, so I used to own this lens, right? And the only reason why I sold it was because of the focus. So many times where I would miss focus, or I would just miss shots because the lens would not be able to focus properly. And yeah, it was so hard to work with that I just parted way with it. But image quality is great. 56mm f1.2 2022 version. I recently got this lens, I purchased it, and it works well for me. Right now I'm doing a lot of portraiture for travelers. So by the way, if you're traveling in Japan and you want portraits, yeah, contact me, let me know. And yeah, it works just very well. The images that I get from this particular lens is beautiful. So yeah, really good to work with. 60, yeah, actually I tested this also. So 60mm f2.4. That would be for me either C maybe a C. It works fine, but I would say that the minimum focus distance and the how do you call it? I mean, basically the I forgot right now, but basically the way the image is scaled, I forgot the proper term, sorry, but is not exactly what I was looking for. So yeah, 60mm f2.4, I would put it either a C or a B tier. The image quality is honestly not that great. There are some lack of sharpness here and there. But anyway, typically when you do macro work, you will basically go really low in terms of aperture. So it's fine for that, but not the best. 80mm f2.8, I would put it as a B. Why B? B or A? Yeah, I'm debating either B or A. Great lens, works super well. It's extremely heavy. The focus, some people say it focuses extremely well all the time, but that was not my experience with it. Yeah, I would put it maybe B tier. Good image quality, beautiful macro lens. No, A tier. The macro, if you want to have macro on Fuji, I would definitely recommend this lens. But it's very heavy and it's a very specialized lens, so that's mostly for my macro work, I would say. 90mm f2, no hesitation, S tier. The only reason why I parted way with it was simply put because my usage of it was limited at that time, because I was mostly doing work inside. But if you are outside and if you have enough space, which is actually my case now, so maybe I should get it, but yeah, you know, I don't have infinite money. But 90mm f2, the image quality that you get out of it is just beautiful. So yeah, for me, this is one of the best lenses that Fujifilm has ever made. In terms of focus, in terms of sharpness, in terms of image quality, in terms of bokeh, in terms of everything. That would be, honestly, I would put it at number one in terms of the lenses that, the best lenses of Fujifilm. The 200mm f2 never tried. The 8-16, I have tried it. So I've tried it very, how to say, briefly, and I think it has good image quality, but it's just so heavy and so, how to say, the conditions where you would use the 8-16 compared to the 10-24 and the f2.8 are so limited that for me it doesn't make sense. If you're doing architecture or real estate, maybe it makes sense, but for me this lens, the overall lens package, I'm not a fan of it. I know it's for people who do real estate or who do architecture, it might be a great lens, but it's not my case. 10-24, I would put it B or A. So this lens is great, a great companion, great 16-35 equivalent. If you travel or if you do some architecture work, other stuff as well. It has some slight lack of sharpness at f4 on some focal length, but honestly, most people would not be able to tell, so don't worry too much about it. It's good enough. Yeah, either B or A. I haven't tried this one. 16-55, directly S tier. That's just a beautiful lens that it has the surname, you know, like the nickname Bag of Prime, and that's for a reason. It's like all those A tier lists here, and you basically have that in one lens. So if you are in need of this kind of lens, it's a bit expensive, but it's really worth the money, honestly. The only thing that I would hope is that Fujifilm come up with an updated version of this lens, where they kind of make it a little bit more compact, like we've seen in other brands recently. So that would be the only feedback that I would have about this lens. 16 to 80, that's the first lens that I got, and honestly, I was not convinced at all. So I don't know, a lot of people praised it actually, said that it was actually really good, but for me the image quality that I got out of this lens was not good at all, and I don't know, it did not inspire me at all. So yeah, 16 to 80 I would put it C or D. 18 to 55 I would put it above the 16 to 80 actually, because it's more compact, easier to play with. Yes, it's not fixed aperture, but you also have the 2.8 compared to the full f4 here. And overall, I prefer my experience with the 18 to 55 than the 16 to 80. I haven't tried this one. 50 to 140, I did try, but very briefly. If I had to give it a rating, it would be A, at least A, if not S. Beautiful lens, beautiful glass, a little bit heavy, you have to keep that in mind. But overall, if that's what you're looking for, it will work great for you. Haven't tried this one. 55 to 200, I would put it as a B. Why B? Because it doesn't have the weather resistance, and because there are some lack of sharpness here and there. Because of that, yeah, I would put it at B at most. And the 70 to 300 that I have now, I would put it at A, because the focal length that it gives you, which is 100 to 450 equivalent full frame, is really good. It's really honestly versatile, and I took like really good shots with this lens when I went to see the monkeys or the foxes, etc. In the mountain. So great lens, gave me some great memories and great pictures. So yeah, definitely good. So yeah, so I think that's about it in terms of the lenses that I've tried, which is quite a lot. I don't know how many I've tried. 29 lenses, yeah. So I don't own all of them, obviously, and I did not purchase all of them either. Some of them I just rented for a few days, because in some shops you can rent for a few days for free, and just to try and give it a try and see if it works for me or not. But yeah, that's my tier list. I don't have any lens in the F tier, because for me F is like completely crap. I can't do anything with it, which for the Fujifilm lens, I've never had a lens where I felt that way. So yeah, so let me know down in the comment what you think about my tier list. And if you missed it, check out this video right here where I talk about the upcoming X-T50. I'll see you there.